No DQ Galaxy. We are live with WrestleMania Raw recap. That's right. This was the final episode of Monday Night Raw before the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 38 in Dallas, Texas. Noah Foster with a reminder to send in your predictions. Follow him at nfoster1916 if you wish to join the No DQ Predictions League. And remember, check out the No DQ Predictions videos over at youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. We have two separate videos, one for night one and one for night two. We had a few more matches confirmed for WrestleMania during Raw, so I will talk about those matches. But first, we kicked off Raw with Brock Lesnar, recap shown from SmackDown. Michael Cole was on commentary. This was kind of like a super show with SmackDown people on Raw. Brock Lesnar, dressed in all black, talked about how one thing he does not suck at is country ass kickings. He said that he is going to spoil his game plan. He is going to take a trip down the streets of Suplex City. Crowd started doing the what chants at him. He said, go along with it. Play along. He said that Steve Austin will be there at WrestleMania, and he heard that Steve Austin is an ass kicker just like him. However, Brock Lesnar did point out that Steve Austin never kicked his ass because, of course, as we remember from back in the day, Steve Austin was scheduled to face Brock Lesnar, and, well, he took his ball and went home. Lesnar said that his title is going to marry Roman Reigns' title. They're going to have a baby, the unified title. And Lesnar said he will be getting full custody at WrestleMania. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, next week I will personally do a commercial number analysis and post the results right here live. Be there. Well, thank you for that, Hamp. I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. Opening promo from Lesnar was fine. Not his best work, though. I felt like he was getting a little bit thrown off by the what chants. But hey, when it's live, you just got to go with it. We had Rey Mysterio versus The Miz in our first match of the evening. The Miz cut a match beforehand, said his favorite mask is the one that he took last week. He said he is going to give it to the real greatest luchador of all time, Lucha Logan. Logan Paul was wearing the Rey Mysterio mask, and then Miz vowed to take another mask. Rey Mysterio arrived for the match. Dominic attacked The Miz, and that led to Dominic being ejected to the back by the referee. We had the match. Miz hit a DDT on the outside of the ring, but then Rey Mysterio made his comeback and pretty much out of nowhere picked up the win. Very short match here. Dominic made his return. They went for a double 619 on Logan Paul, but he escaped. Mysterio was able to get his mask back from Logan Paul, and then they hit a double 619 to The Miz. They hit the splashes on The Miz, and Logan Paul just stood out there and did absolutely nothing. Very interesting. So interesting that I am changing my pick for WrestleMania. I initially was going with the Mysterios, but man, Miz just got totally squashed on this show, and they're teasing like him and Logan Paul are not on the same page. Logan was not loyal to his partner, so I'm going with Miz and Logan Paul. Surely Miz is not going to lose again. I'm just going to keep picking the Miz until he finally wins. He lost at the Royal Rumble, lost at Elimination Chamber, lost on this Raw. He's got to be winning on Sunday or Saturday, whenever the hell this match is. Dr. Scorpio sent in a $2 super chat, says, God, I hate the what chants now. Well, they are revived. They never truly died out, and I really don't think they're ever going to go away. And right now, with Austin coming back, they are alive and well. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, Steve Austin took his ball and went home because he was afraid of Brock Lesnar, just like when Marty Jannetty fled through the window from Shawn Michaels. Well, you could say that. You could say that Steve Austin was afraid, or if you're being sarcastic, you can say Steve Austin just did not like creative and felt like him and Brock Lesnar should not have been on a random episode of Monday Night Raw. But yes, thank you for that, Psycho Jet Black. Little reference there to the barbershop segment, which I always appreciate. All-time great segment, in my opinion. We had a recap of Seth Rollins losing his latest attempt at getting to WrestleMania. Then we had the footage shown, which was really strange because WWE published the whole video several hours before Raw. So why do we need to see it again? Now, I'm sure there are people that do not follow WWE on social media and did not see the video, but you would think that a good chunk of the fans already saw this footage and they just repeat it on Raw. Anyways, for those of you that missed it, Rollins went into Vince McMahon's office and Vince said if Seth Rollins wanted a WrestleMania match, all he had to do was ask Vince. He should have gone straight to Vince in the first place. And Vince said he will give Rollins a match at WrestleMania. However, Vince will be choosing the opponent, and Seth Rollins will not know his opponent until the match is set to begin and Rollins' opponent comes down to the ring. So it is going to be a mystery as far as who the opponent is. Right now it's vacant, but we all know vacant will turn into somebody at WrestleMania. Will it in fact be Cody Rhodes? Will it be The Undertaker, as some people think? Will it be Shane McMahon? We will find out at WrestleMania. And by the way, Rollins, as Darren pointed out in the chat, Rollins was dancing on Vince's desk. That was pretty entertaining. Walter Cruz, who was on the No DQ predictions panel Sunday night, says, would Steve Austin have fought Cowboy Brock Lesnar? I think Stone Cold would have fought any version of Brock Lesnar if the timing was right and it was at the right venue and not a random episode of Monday Night Raw. That's what I think. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, will Cody come in as a face or a heel? Well, obviously a face with Seth Rollins being a heel. And I think he's going to get a good reaction. The fact that people have been chanting for Cody, I think WWE fans will see this as Cody coming home, coming back to where he belongs. I think he's going to get a really good reaction. No reason for him to be a heel anytime soon. We had a handicap match, Omos versus the Viking Raiders. And as soon as this was announced, I was like, oh boy, Viking Raiders are getting sacrificed here. Not looking good for them. It was not a pinfall victory, but it was basically a squash. Omos knocked Eric to the outside of the ring. Eric got counted out from one blow from Omos. And then Ivar got on the apron. He got knocked off the apron, and that was it for him. So Viking Raiders totally squashed here, even though it was a count out. So I guess they had a little bit to save face, but not much. Afterwards, Omos cut a promo, said he's undefeated. He will dominate everyone. He said the key word, dominate, and that led to the return of Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley is back, and he confronted Omos. Crowd was very much into Lashley, chanting his name. He got pie-faced. Lashley attempted to tackle Omos, but Omos was not budging. Eventually, Lashley got so angry, he had one last attempt at it, and they both fell down. But the key is that Lashley did get Omos off his feet. and then they both pointed at the WrestleMania sign, and that made it official. Omos versus Bobby Lashley coming up this weekend. I think it's Saturday, but I'm not sure. It's this weekend at WrestleMania. I did pick Lashley to win. I still think he's going to win, but I would not be shocked if MVP turns against Lashley and Omos wins with MVP. Omos needs a mic piece badly. So if there was ever a time for MVP to betray Lashley, this would be the time. And have MVP jump over to Omos and be the mouthpiece for Omos, because Omos should not be cutting promos, in my opinion. He definitely needs somebody to speak for him. Gabe sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate it. Says, another stupendous WrestleMania Raw the night after WrestleMania, Oscar Sunday night, main event, The Rock versus the King, Will Smith. Well, Will Smith, if he's in a mood for slapping somebody, maybe he'll try to slap The Rock, and we could see that showdown coming up at a future WWE event. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. Not going to hold my breath, though. I think Will Smith is pretty much done with his slapping. He did that whole apology to Chris Rock. I think he's moving on. And there's still people that think that whole thing was a work. I just wonder, if it was a work, what was it accomplishing? I just don't understand, like, where they're going with that. Are they going to be doing a movie together or what? Like, I don't get it. Why would they work everybody for publicity? I mean, Will Smith apologized. I feel like it's over now. Anyways, enough of that. Not really wrestling related, but it was brought up, so I mentioned it. We had Reggie backstage with Dana Brooke, and well, Hab Connell thinks it's falling ratings, so yeah, maybe the whole thing was a conspiracy. But we had Reggie with Dana Brooke. He got on his knees, and she said, "This is so sudden." And he gave her a ring. He proposed. She said yes. Man, talk about Oscar-worthy acting here. Wow. Anyways, Tamina attacked them. They escaped. And then Tozawa showed up with a suit. He had heard about the proposal, so he decided to try to one-up Reggie, and he proposed to Tamina. And he could not get the ring around the finger. Eventually, he was able to fit it on, and she did accept as well after a bit of hesitation. And yeah, we have 2 engagements. Boy, oh boy, what a segment. R-Truth was lurking around in the backstage area. He had some binoculars, and he said he has an idea. So we'll have to see the big follow-up to this with R-Truth. I wonder if we're going to get a dual wedding with the 24/7 people. The whole thing is just so ridiculous. I mean, this was just beyond over the top. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, Will Smith versus Stephanie McMahon slap fight at WrestleMania? I think Stephanie might win that one. I think Will Smith needs to learn a thing or two about slapping from Stephanie. She is the master of the slap, by the way. Back in the days of Day of Reckoning on GameCube, they had the Stephanie McMahon slap as a finisher. And I would always use that for various people. Marquand 1976 with a $2 super chat says, wrestling wedding? Oh, joy. Yeah, you better get ready for a 24/7 wedding. I sense it's coming here pretty soon. We had Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, coming down to the ring. And it was brought up by Michael Cole how Reigns has never been pinned or submitted since December of 2019. Crowd started doing the what chants for Reigns, just like they did earlier with Lesnar. Reigns said, if y'all keep whatting me, I'll smash all of you, just like I'm going to smash Brock Lesnar and just like I would have done to Steve Austin. Didn't really shut the people up. They kept going. Reigns talked about how he's done everything but beat the Beast at WrestleMania, and that pisses him off. Crowd started chanting Suplex City. Reigns talked about how Lesnar busted his head open at WrestleMania 34. Reigns said his family doubted him. They were disappointed in him, but he changed up his game, and he will take everything from Lesnar. He said he got his receipt when he drew blood at Madison Square Garden. He already took Lesnar's advocate, Paul Heyman, upgraded him to a wise man, and said the final move is to take the title from Brock Lesnar, and said that it has always been personal to him, and he did the We the Ones to wrap up the promo. It was pretty good, but I have to say, I was thinking we were going to see some kind of confrontation between these two guys. A little lackluster, but better than the tug of war as far as go-home show buildups go. But I was kind of hoping they would have done some kind of physical confrontation just to close out the show, but they did not do that. Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat says, going back to Lashley, it's a waste of time to be paired with Omos. Logically, he used to be pissed at Brock Lesnar and go after him, but WWE and logic don't mix. Well, Lashley missed his chance for WrestleMania. I guess he felt like he couldn't just add himself to the match and make it a triple threat. But hey, Omos, it's something, and maybe Lashley slays the beast, or the Colossus, excuse me, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe MVP turns. We'll see what happens at WrestleMania. We had, well, actually, before we get to that, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, imagine The Rock pinning Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39 for the title. I don't think it should happen, but if it did happen, I would not be shocked. I really don't, because if The Rock's coming back, I only think he's doing the one match. I don't see him coming back and having any kind of a run just like he did in 2012, 2013. Natalya and Shayna Baszler teamed up with the tag team women's champions, Zelina Vega and Carmella. Before the match, Natalya and Shayna confronted the champs backstage. Things got a little heated. We had an 8-woman tag team match. They were against Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Liv Morgan, along with Rhea Ripley. Things broke down early. Heels got the upper hand. They worked over Sasha for a while. They ended up hitting the heart attack, but Zelina Vega came in and wanted the pin, and that screwed everything up for her team. Shayna was arguing with Zelina, and then Zelina got teamed up by all the faces, and Rhea Ripley hit the Riptide, pinned Zelina Vega once again. I mean, have there been any champions booked worse than Zelina Vega and Carmella? Not that many that I can recall. I mean, they lose like every match. So this really did nothing for me. The heels could not coexist. It was kind of blah. Not a big fan of this one. We had a recap of Kevin Owens doing the Steve Austin impression, and then we had a really cool Austin video package. I mean, this was really well done. Typical great production values from WWE. The only thing is that I'm watching this and I'm thinking other people are watching this and they're like, well, why isn't wrestling like this anymore? Like, wrestling used to be cool. I watch all the Austin stuff and I'm like, we don't get stuff like that anymore. That seemed like a really exciting time in wrestling. And now we get a bunch of video packages and promos where guys are just out there to kill time, and matches that don't go very long. And when they do, they kind of drag. Yeah. Not sure how I feel about this long term, but short term, I'm pumped to see Steve Austin for WrestleMania. And then Kevin Owens came into the ring and he cut a promo. He said that tribute that he did was the closest thing to the old Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold has been gone for 19 years. He is not coming back. Owens said that it's not Stone Cold anymore. It's just Steve. And Steve looks and sounds like Stone Cold, even talks a big game like Stone Cold, but Steve is not coming to the KO show to pick a fight because he knows what's going to happen. Owens said that they'll have a nice conversation. He'll put over Austin, and then they'll even have a toast where Austin will officially pass the torch to KO as the new Stone Cold and the true master of the Stone Cold Stunner. He warned Austin to not try anything funny, or else Steve Austin will be on the receiving end of a KO stunner. And that's the bottom line because Kevin Owens said so. This was a great promo. To me, this was the best thing on the show. Kevin Owens did a fantastic job hyping up the match. And I love the whole line about he's just Steve now. He's not Stone Cold. Very well done here by Kevin Owens. And to me, this was the one thing I really think you should go out of your way to watch to get hyped up for WrestleMania. Next up, we had Ricochet versus Austin Theory. Yeah, IC champion basically getting squashed. Now, Austin Theory should definitely be winning matches, setting up his WrestleMania match, but do you really have to sacrifice the IC champion? Like, this was bad, man, for Ricochet. Crowd was chanting, "We want Pat," and Austin won a very short match, basically a squash match with the ATL. Don't even think it went past the commercial break. Yeah, Ricochet, IC champion, completely jobbed out here. Like, there was nobody else you could put in there with Austin Theory. Like, do Austin Theory versus Cedric Alexander or Drew Gulak or something like that. Like, why do you have to sacrifice the IC champion? We had Bianca Belair come into the ring for a promo, and she talked about how her confidence threatens the existence of Becky Lynch. Bianca said that Becky tried to break her spirit, but it did not work. And Becky Lynch has no tricks left. Nothing can stop Bianca Belair. She's all the way up. And then all of a sudden, Becky Lynch tried to sneak into the ring with a chair, but Bianca was ready for her. The two of them brawled. Becky did get the upper hand, and then Becky pulled out a pair of scissors from a bag as if she's Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and she attempted to cut off the braid of Bianca Belair, but Bianca countered, hit the KOD, hit a second one, and then she grabbed the scissors and started cutting at Becky's hair. You had officials running down Adam Pearce. They were trying to break things up. And eventually Bianca left. Becky Lynch got up. She was absolutely furious that she got some of her hair cut off. And she was mumbling to herself, she's going to do anything to win. Crowd was chanting, "You deserve it." And then backstage, Becky just called Bianca a bitch. And that's when you know things are real. Shit is on. This was another really interesting angle because I thought for sure Becky was going to cut off the hair for the heel heat. But instead, Bianca gets the heat going into the match with the cutting of Becky's hair. So yeah, I'm really curious about this one too. I may change my prediction to Becky Lynch. I'm not sure though. I did pick Bianca, but this made me doubt the outcome of the match. Maybe that's what WWE wanted. Because if Becky got the heat here with the braid, we all be like, well, Bianca's winning for sure. Now I really don't know. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, seriously, would Ricochet be such a jobber if he wasn't bad on the mic, or at least be as tall as Randy Orton? He'd be in a much better spot if either of those two applied, and if both of them applied, he'd probably be a top tier guy like a Seth Rollins. But unfortunately, as good as he is in the ring, it seems like he never really gets elevated past a certain level and probably never will. And the championship ain't going to do a damn thing, unfortunately. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho. Or no, Dr. Scorpio sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you. Says, might as well get rid of the mid-card titles since they don't care about it. Book the title holders well. I agree with you, man. At the very least, I think they should merge the IC and US titles. I've been saying that for a long time. Have one mid-card champion, but you got to make sure that champion has some credibility. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time with a title. It literally means nothing. It's not even a prop, because at least a prop could elevate somebody. When the prop has no purpose whatsoever, like what is the point of it? It's just a decoration, I guess. But yeah, the titles really don't mean much these days, especially those mid-card titles and the women's tag team titles for that matter. The game is on 100 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Becky is definitely winning at Mania due to Bianca cutting Becky's hair, but Bianca wins at WrestleMania Backlash, in which she will put her hair on the line for the title. See, I'm thinking that now. I'm starting to think Becky wins, and then Bianca, in order to get one more match, she has to put her hair on the line versus Becky Lynch. Hair versus title, something like that. And Bianca finally wins then. I just have this feeling now that Bianca's not winning at WrestleMania, which I think would have been a nice feel-good moment, but looks like they're going to keep the feud going. And you have to think they're doing a hair match at some point. Regardless of who wins, you have to think a hair match is coming. They've just been teasing it too much, and especially after this show. We had Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss in a handicap match. Why are they announcing this match? Why are they booking this match when Drew McIntyre is facing Happy Corbin? Like, in kayfabe terms, you're the promoter. Why would you book your WrestleMania guys in a match before WrestleMania? Doesn't make any logical sense. They're SmackDown guys. Why are they on Raw? What was the point of this? McIntyre dominated Moss, threw Moss into the corner, wanted a tag by Corbin. Corbin denied it, and McIntyre pinned Moss with the Claymore. Corbin attacked him right after the match, hit the end of days, and left with Angela. Didn't they already do this angle where Angela got taken, the sword got taken away from McIntyre? I mean, come on now. This was stupid, waste of time, did zero to make me more excited for the match. And if anything, it's even more obvious now that McIntyre is winning. Happy Corbin is not winning this thing. No way. Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat. Save for the end, Aaron. Well, too late for that. But the main event made me want to change my prediction. I'll stick with my gut, but RK-Bro got 2 over on Raw. Prophet's job tonight. That's another interesting one. And I will talk about that here in a few minutes, but thank you for that, Walter Cruz. You got to save the super chat for the end, because then I end up going off topic and I end up reading it before I really have a chance to think, oh, wait, he wants it for the end. We had Edge in some dark room doing his best Malachi Black impression. You know, Edge had some really good promos, but man, this came off more like a Malachi Black knockoff than anything he's done. And I know people have been making the comparisons, but this one resembled very much a Malachi Black AEW promo. He's in this dark room. He's dressed in all black. Kind of the same thing that he's been saying. AJ Styles needed Edge to become relevant again. Edge needed AJ Styles to get him to where he needs to be for the real Edge to come out. Yada, yada, yada. Edge is going to keep soaring while Styles will fall. Blah, blah, blah. And then he said that WrestleMania is going to be AJ's Judgment Day. His judgment is sealed. They had a little scale there, which I guess was a reference to a Judgment Day poster from like 2006 or 2007 with Edge on the poster with the scale. I guess that was a nice little throwback. And then backstage, Styles had his rebuttal and said that Edge just uses a lot of words to justify a cheap shot, and Edge is going to get something a lot worse than the Pitbull at WrestleMania. It was fine. In case you didn't notice, this show was like 80 to 90% promos and video packages. Not much in the way of wrestling, which, you know, is fine if the promos and video packages are good. And I really don't need all the video packages and recaps, but that's what they did for this Go Home Raw. Didn't really make for a very exciting show, but I get why they do it. A lot of the promos just felt like rehashes. Like this Edge one didn't really do much to build up the storyline. Lesnar and Reigns kind of felt like filler. Best one, like I said, was the KO one, in my opinion. And we got a $5 super chat here from Underground Knight. Not sure if I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I was wrong on that. Says, if not Cody Rhodes, what are the chances of it being Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt? Probably zero. The only other people I could see it being, as I mentioned earlier, if it's not Cody Rhodes, and they've been teasing Cody Rhodes, everyone thinks it's Cody Rhodes. Only other people I could think it being are Undertaker, if he's going to come and do one last match. But I don't think that's going to happen. And Shane McMahon. And I think if Shane was going to be there, they would have just done Shane McMahon versus Seth Rollins and built it up. So I don't think it's Shane. Probably Cody Rhodes. Bray Wyatt, I would say highly unlikely in all likelihood. And responding to John in the chat, Alexa Bliss, she's just not in the Mania plans. Will she be afterwards? Anything's possible, I guess, but I don't know if she's going to be around. I don't know if they're going to keep her, if they're going to cut her on April 15th. I don't know. I hope they do something with her, but they got to evolve the character. They really do. And I say this because they cut Bray Wyatt, they cut Braun Strowman. I mean, even though Alexa Bliss has been selling merch for WWE, nothing would shock me at this point. Bray Wyatt was selling merchandise too, and they cut him. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they push her after WrestleMania. If you don't see her after WrestleMania, like in the next couple weeks, not a good sign. And finally, we had the Usos versus RK-Bro in the main event. I thought Survivor Series was the only time of the year where we see Raw versus SmackDown. Well, we get this match again. Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura were there at ringside to watch. RK-Bro slammed the Usos on the announce table, and then the Usos got the upper hand after the commercial break. Pretty standard RK-Bro match. They work over Riddle for a while. Orton gets the hot tag, did his moves, and then the Street Profits come in, attacking Randy Orton, causing a disqualification. So it looks like the Profits are moving towards being heels. And Corey Graves even said it's the heightened aggression of the Street Profits. Shinsuke and Rick Boogs got involved afterwards. They took out the Usos. And then, as Walter Cruz was alluding to earlier, the Street Profits got their asses kicked. Riddle hit the RKO to Dawkins. Orton hit Ford with one. And then the crowd chanted one more time. And they did it again. Dawkins and Ford got more RKOs. And that's how Raw ended, with the champs standing tall and the Street Profits looking like total jabronis. Yeah, I mean, that certainly makes me wonder if maybe the Profits win after all that. Like they got destroyed so much. Could they be winning the titles? Hard to say. Hamp Kana with a $2 super chat says, what makes more money, WrestleMania or CYN? CYN. Oh, control your narrative. Wow, Hamp. Yeah, I'm just going to say CYN makes more money than WrestleMania. How about that? Just for the shits and giggles. All right. So that is Raw, everybody. Show was skippable. It for a go-home show, it serves its purpose to the casual viewers so they know what's going on for WrestleMania. But as far as like anything new or building up storylines or even good matches, like you really had none of that. So I'm just going to give it a C+, slightly above average for Raw. Not a great show if you're having your expectations high for it being a go home. It was just there. Just a show, a lot of video packages, lots of promos that were just rehashing what's already been said. And there were a few good things like the Kevin Owens promo, but yeah, not a really stellar episode of Monday Night Raw by any means. Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. Says $10. Says WWE invites Will Smith on eventually. Yeah, they might. If WWE wanted to do the publicity stunt, they could tweet something and say, Will Smith and Chris Rock have a problem? There's always an open invitation in a WWE ring. I'm actually surprised they haven't done that yet. Maybe they will. But yeah, the fact that Will Smith apologized makes me think that they're just trying to end this and move on here. So anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. I appreciate your continued viewership and support. Coming up next, we continue the streak of live streams. We got NXT Stand and Deliver Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll be talking about that. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest news as we head into WrestleMania. Pick up some No DQ merchandise over at NoDQ.com/merch. Use the code MANIA for 20% off. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you guys next time. And don't forget, say yes to NoDQ.com. Later, everyone.